It's the Hair Kytchen, baby, and you know what it means. G. Marie gon' come around. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, let's start the show.
Hey hair care hotties, it's your girl G. Marie, the cosmetology coach. Welcome to the Hair Kytchen. Our show is all about the beauty business, the clients we serve, and the impact we've had on the community and the industry. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In today's episode, I'll be sharing with you what inspired me, what I did and who I helped along the way, and where my career is going. So my career started way before I got licensed. It's rooted in my DNA. I'm a second generation Washingtonian, and going to the salon with my mom was where it all really started. But I have to back up a little bit. That was my exposure. It started with my grandmother and watching her press and curl her hair in the kitchen using a hot comb on the stove, aka pressing comb. It was called a hot comb, and a Marcel curling iron. It just brings back nostalgia. It's a smell, it's a vibe. And then my grandmother was the first one to press my hair when I was in high school. So I was super excited. I'll never forget the day. I was combing my hair, looking in the mirror going, oh my God, my hair is so straight, and my hair was always so curly. We just don't even want to get into that part, but it was a wonderful experience to look back and remember. She was so light-handed. She could press. I never got burned. I don't have those kind of horror stories. It was just a great experience. So fast forward to the salons and going with my mom every 2 weeks. That was a whole world on its own. Like, the stylists looked like celebrities. They were dressed to the nines, their hair, their makeup, their nails, their clothes. Everybody just looked beautiful. They truly fit the part of a beautician. And just watching the women come in and be transformed and getting their nails done and getting their hair done. And again, I keep talking about the smell because I'm a big smell kind of person. And the salon, even when you walk in and no one's in there getting their hair done, it has its own smell that just says beauty. So the inspiration that I got from my mom visiting the salon and my grandmother doing her hair and giving me my first press and curl took me to enrolling in Potomac Academy of Hair Design. And beauty school was nothing short of an adventure every day. Like, every day you learn something new, from doing your first roller set and then your first blow dry and the finger waves. One of my classmates said, your rollers are always so neat. Your comb outs are always so professional looking. She's like, I got a bird's nest going on over here. I was like, oh, I wasn't really paying attention to what she was doing. I was so focused on myself, and it was more than just beauty school for me. It was like a transformation. I wanted it so bad. I remember breaking out in hives. I would be so nervous, especially on Fridays, because Friday was test day. And I was like, oh my gosh, and we wore white uniforms. So you have on your dress, and I'm trying to keep it pulled down so nobody sees that I look like I'm having some kind of allergic reaction. But then the outcome was A's and B's, and my practical skills were 90s and 100s. So then we're, go from peeking out and seeing what the seniors are doing on the senior floor to being one of the seniors. That whole educational process just stemmed my career being filled with education throughout the entire time I've been practicing cosmetology. It's always about education. Beauty school, again, was amazing, and I got my 1,500 hours. I took my state board exam. I passed my written, and I'm so proud of this. I'm still proud of this today. And back then you could see how many questions you got right or wrong. I got 99 out of 100. So I passed my written on the first try. Now my practical, again, I'm not a cutter, I'm a colorist, and it was evident then because I had to go back and do my haircut twice. And I honestly didn't do that state board haircut again until I went and bought a beauty school and started teaching, and I was faced with having to do that haircut that I so dreaded. but not realizing how good I was at that haircut because I just stayed away from it for years. And when I say years, you could get all kinds of haircut, but you couldn't get a state board haircut out of me. Now, since then, state board's haircut has changed to a 90 layer, but back then it was the 45, and you had to part this, do this, drop this. That haircut, I was all over the place. So my second time around, I passed it with flying colors. So fast forward to my first salon experience. Well, it wasn't my first, but it was the one that catapulted me into management. I was working for a local chain as a stylist. I spent 2 years there working as a stylist and went back to state board to get my manager's license. And at that time, you had to do 2 years or go back to school. So if you had 2 years experience, they would allow you to sit for the managers, to sit for your boards and get your manager's license. So right at my 2-year mark, I said, I'm going back. I'm going to get my manager's license. And then I came back as the manager of the salon that I had been working in for 2 years. So I was like, okay, this is great. Needless to say, the district manager informed me the salon was in trouble. There was a lot of problems, things that as a stylist, you may or may not even be paying attention to because you're focused on taking care of your clients every day. And it was a busy salon, and I did a lot of haircuts, blow dries, curls, flat irons, I mean, everything. Taking that salon from underperforming to overperforming happened in about 6 months. It got me a seat at the table with a group of managers, and it was a nucleus group because the company had never done that before. And they said, hey, we want all of the managers whose salons are really producing to come and share with each other what it is they're doing in their salons to get these results. And that's pretty much spearheaded being a manager from 2 years in until now. I've been managing salons for 20 plus years, and we're talking big salons, small salons, corporate salons, chain salons. It doesn't matter if the salon, and I like the ones with a challenge. So if the salon is having a problem or it isn't reaching its goals, it's not reaching the numbers, and they're trying to figure out why or how to turn it around, I like to come in and turn it around. And the last 3 salons that I've managed have been corporate salons. So what's a corporate salon? A corporate salon is a salon that generally has layers of management. So you have your salon manager, you have your district manager, you may have a regional manager, and then you have a VP on the corporate level that oversees everything going on in that district. And your salons are broken down into districts. Then you have your small private salons, which may have a corporate vibe because they have a little more organization in the back office. And then you have your mom and pop, where it may just be one person who has a couple of chairs. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they may not have as much corporate structure, and it's more focused on how the owner wants things done on a day-to-day basis. There may or may not be the consistency that you have because there's not the oversight. And it's probably a lot more relaxed atmosphere depending on the manager or the owner. And then you, of course, have booth rent and things like that, suites. That's about the gamut of the levels of types of salons. But I've spent most of my career in corporate salons and chain salons. The thing I like the most are the stylists. I deal with the corporate part and having to answer to upper management, but the day-to-day working with the stylists, helping them reach their goals, helping them even set goals, because a lot of times people who are right-brained, they're in a creative space, they may not even understand how the numbers and what they're doing impacts their lives. And when you can help someone understand that, put a plan together, now they're working toward their own goals, it helps you to be successful behind the chair. And I've really, really enjoyed doing that. So my career started managing salons, and I've been managing salons ever since. Salon management on the corporate level as well as in the private salons had a big impact on my career, and it got to the point where I was ready to go out on my own. And I opened my first home-based operation, and I did a small private studio in the basement of my home. It had a separate entrance, off-street parking. I even had a website when I first got started, and that was years ago, and that was way before people had websites. I wish y'all could see it. It had flashing colors. I had my logo professionally done by an artist, and I set up shop and took my clients to a home-based operation, and it was professional. Most people walked in and they were like, oh wow, because it wasn't like you were going to come in, my kids were running around, chicken was frying on the stove, and I'm on the phone with my slippers on. It was none of that. It was a professional operation. Welcome to Textures by G. Marie. And my kids actually named my shop. They were like, how hair feels? And I said, textures? And they were like, yes, Textures by G. Marie. That's where it all started with my first home-based salon. And from there, I got actively involved in the business community through one of the business organizations in the county. I was just hungry for the knowledge. Again, it was like business 101. And I went to all the meetings, I went to all the functions, and I'll never forget this one particular year. I was sitting at my desk, at the reception desk in my studio, thinking about budget and being able to afford this particular event. And it was a delegate that was having the event, and my phone rang. And this is what people talk about, the universe. Look at karma. And I was like, oh wow, I was just looking at the invitation to your event. And he said, I want you to be my guest. I was like, I'm on the guest list? You mean, no, I don't have to worry about the fee? And I don't know if you guys have ever attended events through business organizations in the county, but they can be upwards of $100 to attend. And for me, a single mother, 3 kids, I was like, it was always about looking at the numbers and being able to budget in, being able to attend. So I was like, oh wow. And I believe that was the year that I won Entrepreneur of the Year, Prince George's County. And I was like amazed. People had actually recognized, and that's when your peers select you to be the person to win this particular award. So I had been chosen by my peers to win the Entrepreneur of the Year in Prince George's County. And that was another milestone in my career where I was like, wow, okay, so I may be doing something right. So as you can see, I've won some awards, I've won some competitions, but the main thing that I won was the trust of the clients who sat in my chair. And I had a diverse clientele, men, women, elected officials, business owners, and all of their relationships of me doing their hair. They shared things about their lives that also had an impact on my life. I had, from those conversations, I got opportunities to work with women in homeless shelters, to work with women who have been victims of domestic violence. And I was a big advocate at my school. And I did own a beauty school, and I was a big advocate of participating in an event that happened in the county to support women who were victims of domestic violence. You could find the palm cards in the bathroom at the school if you ever came there. And we made a donation, and we also used to walk in the fight against domestic violence. I had the opportunity to work with companies like Maximus, United Communities Against Poverty, Dress for Success, where you provide the women with clothing who needed to get themselves motivated to get back out in the workforce after coming through the Family Crisis Center and getting their spirits lifted. And hair was what I used to touch these women. You could come and have your hair done complimentary in my studio at no charge, just so you could feel good about yourself. Go and ace that interview, get the job, and take your life to the next level from where you were. I've had a couple of opportunities. When you win something, you feel really good about yourself. You're like, okay, I actually could do this. Not so over yourself, but it just, for me, it meant more that other people recognized that I had the skill and the grit to get the job done. The science has always intrigued me, from seeing hair go from one color to the chemical reaction that takes it to the color that's the outcome that the client wants to see. I'm never short of amazed, and I've been doing and focusing on color for 20 plus years. I was working in a salon over in the area where I live, and the distributor was coming in back and forth. Well, our sales rep who worked for the distributor, and Janet Jackson's Poetic Justice had just gone, like, I guess it would be called viral in the movies. Everybody was talking about it because Sebastian was on stage at a hair show. Everybody was trying to work for Sebastian. Sebastian wasn't hiring anybody else, and I loved color. And she said, hey, we have some openings if you want to come and audition and try out to become an educator for Joico. Well, I did, and I spent 10 years teaching color for Joico, and it was amazing. Like, I met like the top talent from all over the country. They would bring us all together for trainings, and I'll never forget when I was in the training, they gave us a product. We had to take it home, we had to study the product, and we had to come back the next day and do a presentation. And my presentation was on the transformation line in Joico, which is no more. It was their shine line. It was all about shine. And you also had to tell a little bit about yourself. So I started mine off with telling people I was a phoneaholic because I talked on the phone all the time. And this was before cell phones, so I'm stretching the phone cord all around the house, trying to be on the phone in the shower. And I said, shine, shine, shine. Transformation line is all about shine. You can make dull, dry hair shiny. You can make curly hair pop. The curls will bounce and shine. I just went into it, and I actually was hired. I was amazed. I went everywhere for Joico. Up and down the East Coast. I worked the New York Hair Show for them for about 10 years. I went in salons in New York and Massachusetts and Delaware. They sent me everywhere teaching color to stylists who wanted to improve their gray coverage, learn about what was trending, as well as improve their corrective color. Are you looking for a new stylist? Considering gray coverage? In need of corrective color? Want a great haircut? The Hair Kytchen has something for everyone. For on-time appointments, call G. Marie at 443-490-5777. We look forward to taking care of your hair. So as you see, color has always been my passion, but it education is what I love to do because you get to ignite the fire of this craft in other people who venture in to go to school, take the trade, learn cosmetology, and that love for education led me to purchasing a beauty school. And I owned my school for about 10 years, and I had the opportunity to touch a lot of students' lives. And you never really know how you're doing as an educator and a school owner, but the education piece was in the forefront for me. The school ownership was what I had to do, the reports and things like that, but the part I loved the most was watching a student go from shaking hands and trembling and, oh my gosh, is this where my guide is, to Miss G. Marie, I got it. Okay, all right. Knowing what treatment was what, because I would distribute the treatments to them. This is the shampoo, this is the conditioner, from having to tell them, and that last time that you tell them, they say, Miss G. Marie, I know which one is the shampoo and which one is the conditioner. Okay, and just seeing that progress and watching them grow, it's just like, it warms your heart. You never really know how you're doing as an educator. Am I having an impact? Is the information that I'm giving them, are they retaining it? Are they going to be able to use it? And then you get testimonials indirectly. Like, you don't go, hey, can I get some testimonials? I mean, those are always good, but you get people who call you back and say, you know, now because of you, I can feed my family. I can take care of my children. I was able to start my business. I work for myself now, Miss G. Marie. So those are the kinds of things that let you know that what you're doing, you're on the right track. I remember getting my first report back when my graduates went to work for one of the local corporate salons, and the manager said, I don't know what you're doing over there, but I have never seen students come out of beauty school as prepared as your students are. So keep doing what you're doing. And those kinds of comments and that kind of feedback really helps you to know that what you're doing isn't in vain, and it definitely is having a positive impact on your students and the community, because the customers they're serving are taking advantage of that training. I also had 2 tracks at my school. One was State Board Prep, and the other one was Workforce Readiness. So State Board Prep was everything that you did on your mannequin to be successful at the board. And workforce readiness was everything you did on the clients on the clinic floor so that you could be successful going into the salon at an entry level. Because when I went in beauty school, it was all about state board. Like they didn't talk to you about real world, real life salon procedures or services. For example, they handed you your color. It would already be mixed and you just had to go and apply it. My workforce readiness program and me being a colorist, you're going to come into the dispensary and you're going to start learning to understand the color, how you mix it, underlying pigment. You're going to learn the things that I learned in beauty school and beyond. From working for Joico for 10 years, I shared all of that knowledge with my students to help them be successful when they went into the salon, specifically to be able to have their hand in color. And I even had one student that attended the school whose sole goal was to become a board certified colorist. And 1 month after she graduated from beauty school, she went and took that exam and passed it. I was just looking at taking that exam, and I had been doing hair for 25 years teaching color. And she said one of the questions on the exam, she remembered a conversation we had. And had we not had that conversation, she might not have been as successful answering that question. So again, that was rewarding for me. Owning the school also gave me an opportunity to be actively involved in the community on a state level. So there was one point in my career where I became the chairman of the legislative committee for Maryland Association of Private Colleges and Career Schools. And I wrote the policy that we thought was going to have to be a bill. So I got my delegate involved, Delegate Howard. She was very supportive of us wanting to offer the state board's written exam in Spanish. And when I met with her in Annapolis, she said, no, that's not a bill, that's a policy change. She had a conversation with myself, the president and the vice president of the organization at the time, that we would put it through the Maryland Higher Education Commission. We sat down, I wrote the bulk of the policy, they reviewed it, we submitted it, and it was approved by the Maryland Higher Education Commission. So now that the state board could be offered in Spanish. So that was another milestone that meant a lot because we saw the population of students enrolling in the program spoke another language. And I was like, why should they not be able to read in their native tongue if they've already learned everything in English, but to be able to really dissect it, that helped them to be more successful. So yeah, owning the school, it was a lot. It was a lot of learning, it was a lot of helping, and it was a lot of growing. Along with the growth of owning a school, I was actively involved in the Professional Beauty Association, and I also sat on the board for the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. Those two tied together and offered a program on the federal level up on Capitol Hill called Welcome to Our World. So it was called WOW. And doesn't that fit the beauty business? Because usually you're like, wow, when you see something being done in the salon, it wows you. But this was a program that was necessary because they tend to want to sunset on our license or put some regulation in place that will directly impact those of us who are living our lives and our livelihood and our careers through cosmetology, and we don't want things to just happen and not have it on your watch. So I was the state relations person, so I'm like boots on the ground for the federal level and the national association so that they could monitor what's going on from state to state. I would tell them like, oh, this is what we're doing in Maryland. We want to get our state board offered in Spanish. I would report that kind of information to the national level, and they can either chime in or say, okay, if you need any help, if you need to put together a pack, different things legislatively. But I've always had an interest in legislation, and I got to carry out some wonderful missions being involved with that group. So people trust my input and my opinion when it comes to what's going on in cosmetology in my industry. I told you I was going to show you what inspired me. I've shared a lot with you of what I did in between, and now I want to talk a little bit about where it's going. You are sitting in one of my goals, which was to produce a show, the Hair Kytchen, and to bring to you, my audience, different people who are in this industry, client stories, business community, leaders, the impact that doing hair has on the community. I'm sure you guys probably have some of your own stories of experience that you've had when you've gone in the salon. And you may want to share some of those stories with me. So that is the one of the things that the future holds is the Hair Kitchen. And I'd like you to be one of the viewers that can give us some ideas. Share with us, what would you like to see? What would you like me to bring to you? So far, I've got stylists who own their own salons. I've got representatives who represent the manufacturers. I even have a few doctors who are going to come on and talk about skincare as well as health for women. I also, number two, am going to be teaching cosmetology online. So if you're someone who has already gotten your hours, you didn't get a chance to go to the board, or you weren't as successful as you would like to be, and it's been a while, and that's a lot of information, 1,500 hours to try to remember or teach yourself in an apprentice capacity. So if you're in the salon learning and getting your hours as an apprentice, my online cosmetology program is a classroom for you. So you can look for that because it's up and coming. That's what's up and coming for you guys, and I want you to be a part of the rest of this journey. So again, I'm G. Marie, the cosmetology coach, and I would like to thank you all for watching the show. I would also like to ask if you would connect with us on social media. If you're in need of a stylist and you want someone who's going to take care of your hair, give you that color that you've always wanted while keeping your hair healthy at the same time, you can definitely reach out to me. If you're in need of training, if you have questions, if you have a suggestion of a show topic, you can definitely reach us on social media. We would love to talk with you. Again, thank you for watching The Hair Kitchen, and I'll see you in the next episode.
It's the Hair Kitchen, baby, and you know what it means. G. Marie gon' come around. She gon' really lay it down. She gon' tell y'all all about all the things she knows about beauty in this industry. Everything you need to see. Hair color and history. Business opportunities. So you better listen up real good. The Hair Kitchen is in your hood. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, let's start the show.
Are you looking for a new stylist? Considering great coverage? In need of corrective color? Want a great haircut? The Hair Kitchen has something for everyone. For on-time appointments, call G. Marie at 443-490-5777. We look forward to taking care of your hair.